What's up, Copy Squad? Coming to you live from Delray Beach, Florida. I'm gonna turn the AC in this car and roll up these windows. It's a little hot in here. Okay, cool. So today we are going to talk about, basically, this is going to kind of answer a question about whether or not you need to be a strong English speaker to be a copywriter and be successful as a copywriter. But I think a more overarching question that will also answer is, do you have to be a great writer to be like a very successful copywriter? And the answer is going to be kind of intuitive, and I think you can almost already guess what it is. But I want to address the questions that this guy specifically asked me. I'm not going to call him out by name. And then I think if I address him as an individual in this video, that will be helpful for other people who also have very similar questions. I keep getting this. I got this question a couple times. Jeez, I can't get my words out. I've gotten this question a couple times now. Maybe I should slow it down. So the first thing I want to say is thank you to this gentleman. I think it was a gentleman who sent me this question. I do appreciate you for watching, and I appreciate you sending in this question. And I'm happy to provide the content that I provide, because he said thank you to me for that. So great. He believes the biggest barrier to entry in the field of copywriting for him is that English is his second language. He also wants to know if it's possible to work for a company like Agora, if that is the case. And he wants to know if he could ever work for Agora as a non-resident. So that's part two. The first one was thank you. Part two was his biggest barrier to entry. Part three is, what is the best strategy to learn copy to reach the level of skill required to work for a company like Agora? Okay, so let's break this down. So he says the biggest barrier to entry is he's non-English speaker. And I think that's a great limiting belief to address, because honest to goodness, that is not an issue. I read the guy's email. It was well written. There wasn't any issues. You're good enough to be a copywriter. Plain and simple. It's just as simple as that. Now, some pieces of proof for you. First piece of proof. Copywriting is meant to be written in a 3rd to 6th grade reading level. There's a tool for this. I think it's called Flash Kincaid or something like that. The FK score, they call it. And it needs to be a 6 or below to be good copy, okay? And you can find this in Microsoft Word. I think it's a tool in Microsoft Word for free, but you got to pay for Word. And that will analyze your copy or your text and tell you what the reading level is. Now, if it's above 6th or 7th grade, you're writing too complicated, right? So actually being a English as a second language speaker, a non-native English speaker, your vocabulary will naturally be limited. You won't accidentally use convoluted, complex language. Your sentences will be simple, right? Your sentence structure will be short and simple. You'll be a lot more inclined to use the natural copywriting way. On that note, I have a sidebar that's going to piss some people off. I've got probably 2 things I could say it's going to piss some people off. First off, when I go on Facebook groups, which I've pooped all over Facebook groups on my channel, but sometimes I still drop in or I'll get a notification. And when I go in Facebook groups and I see, I'm talking about copywriting Facebook groups, and I see someone drop this long form, right? This long form stanza about something copywriting, right? And you can tell that they think they're a copywriter. And I do mean that. They think they're a copywriter. Because I'll be reading it. And it's written in this frilly, poetic, metaphorical language. And that's a dead giveaway right then and there that you don't understand copywriting. Just the fact that you're writing in clever language, you're trying to be funny, you're trying to sound sophisticated, it's the complete opposite of the goal of copywriting. A real copywriter would understand that you're supposed to write at a 3rd grade level, and the natural defense for anyone reading this would be oh, but I'm not writing copy, I'm writing to this group of people. Okay. The reason copy is written so simple is because it makes it the easiest to consume and digest writing style in the world. So if you're writing to a human being, you should naturally be inclined to make your content as easy to digest as possible. So if you are using the defense that I'm not writing copy right now, so I can use this frilly, I'm not going to shit on it too hard. If I use this frilly, colorful language or whatever it is, then that just means you don't understand writing. And save it for your novels or your poetry book or whatever. That's a little bit of a rant, but if that just goes to show, copywriting is meant to be simple. okay? Writing in general is easy as consumed if it's simple. So copywriting naturally lends itself to English as a second language speakers. So that's kind of like my rant, and my piece of proof was a Flesch Kincaid score. It should be like 6 or below, right? That makes it really easy to digest for anyone reading, and it can be scanned and read easily. Don't at me, bro. I don't appreciate frilly colorful language. All right. Next thing, my copy chief. My original copy chief, when I first got hired to Agora Financial, highest producing copywriter in Agora Financial history and probably now the world. He is a non-native English speaker, right? And I think that's like another huge piece of proof is when I see his writing, I can tell that he naturally just does the things I was kind of explaining earlier. He naturally writes short, simple sentences. He naturally does favor like shorter, simpler words. And it is because English is his second language. And he doesn't really have like a super in-depth vocabulary. And I believe him and his family speak another language. And so it's like, he speaks English very well at work now. And I've actually seen over the time I've known him, like his English has gotten better and become less, the accent has kind of come down a little bit, the foreign accent. But at the same time, dude, you could just kind of tell, like, wow, I wish I could write this simple. Like, I wish I could get out of these 4-syllable words that I keep writing, or I could stop writing sentences with like 3 commas in there. And this guy just knows how to communicate like that, because that's like the only way he knows how to communicate, because his English is his second language. So it's actually a benefit. It actually lends to writing simpler language. It actually makes you more effective as a writer, that English might be your second language. Also, so I want to say, in the event, okay, so let's talk about what the objection to that would be, right? The objection would be like, oh, my grammar's bad though, right? Like it looks broken English, like it doesn't read well. Okay, that's fine too. You can go on, write your piece of copy or whatever, and go on Fiverr and pay someone like $5 to go through and fix all your grammatical errors, right? Correct your little verb issues or whatever. As long as you keep that message clear, okay, and this brings me back full circle to my big message. Copywriting is a language, okay? Copywriting is a language, and you're only communicating subtext. The words themselves do not matter as long as they're consumed easily, and they should communicate as subtext. There's 4 things you gotta communicate. You gotta communicate this mnemonic device, I call it NESB. New, easy, safe, and big, okay? If you can hit on that nuance in your words, the words themselves don't matter. As a matter of fact, the more simple and elementary they are, the more effective they will be, because a person can quickly consume that language and read it very fast, all right? And that goes back to the whole thing about people who write all frilly in Facebook groups. You don't understand copywriting if I'm not writing copy right now. You should always write for the reader. You should always write so that people can easily consume what you're writing. Again, I think it's cool for the poetry books and your novels to have a little bit more color and make it a little bit more entertaining to read. But when you're on a Facebook group or in a discussion board or a forum or you're writing copy, it should be something that you're transmitting information, and it should be easy to consume, right? That's like copywriting number 1. Now, when you're writing actual copy, I got one more thing. This is the other thing I was going to say. I think I'm going to say it. This is going to piss people off too. Content writing is not copywriting. Blog posts are not copywriting. It's not. Copywriting is a language that communicates certain subtext, like 4 things that I was talking about, the big 4. New, easy, safe, and big. By the way, I'm writing an entire book on the language of copywriting and how to subliminally communicate the 4 big principles in subtext. All right? I'm going to teach you how to do that in a book. If you're interested in that book, you can go to kylethewriter.com/swipe, sign up for my email list, and I'll update you on when that book is coming out. Probably a couple weeks. It's actually almost done. Okay, so I was telling people that they write content, they're not copywriters. Okay, so that's going to piss a lot of people off. But when you're writing a blog post, you're probably not writing those things. If you're not hitting these things, you're not really writing like a copywriter. You're not writing like sales, right? And people argue, but copy is just text. We're going to get into a pretty big debate, because like, then call yourself a content writer and leave it at that, man. Like, if you're not selling, if you're not hitting these emotions, you're not a copywriter. Like, and that's going to piss a lot of people off. I know it, but there, I said it. I put it out there. That's why we get paid so much money to write copy that converts, because it doesn't matter what the words are. Doesn't matter if it's long form. These things help. But we understand that what we're really trying to do is communicate at these 4 levels and hit these 4 basic emotional responses that trigger people to buy. And I'll bring it back to the question, do you have to be a good English speaker to do this? No, because the words don't really matter. What matters is that you understand the subtext that you're trying to hit. I need to prove that this is new. Do I have to use frilly, colorful language to say that something is breakthrough? It's revolutionary. It's a game changer. It's brand new. Very simple to grasp concept. Something has to be conveyed that it's easy. It's communicated something's easy. Any idiot can do this. Step-by-step solution. So simple as 1, 2, 3. Basic English, man. Basic English, okay? What's the third thing? You gotta communicate that it's safe. This has happened before. Every time this happens, then you make this much money. So-and-so, Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, says that this is great, and this is going to work, and it's going to be huge. That gets us right into number 4. Big, all right? New, easy, safe, and big. How do you communicate something's big? This is huge, right? I mean, it's that simple, man. You don't have to be a super strong writer. You don't have to write in metaphors. That almost drives me nuts when I see that. Like, come on. Like, you're subtracting from the message. You're ruining the subtext because you're triggering my logical brain to start thinking. Like, don't do that. You have to only talk to the emotional brain. And if you're not doing that, then you don't really speak copywriting. You don't really understand the language of copywriting. You know that you write really long letters, okay? And you know that you can name the influence triggers, but you don't speak the language. And I am here to teach you that. That's what this whole channel's about now. And I do that in this book. So the book is at kylethewriter.com/swipe. Get on the email list, and I'll update you when that's ready to go. It should be like a week or 2. Okay, the last question was, best strategy to learn copy and get hired at a place like Agora. This is important. I want to answer this like in 2 parts. As a non-U.S. resident, it's very difficult to hire you at Agora Financial USA. And we have tried, and apparently it takes like 9 months to get a visa, and then it's very difficult to get people over here and get them able to stay. We do have like a UK office, and we have a couple offices internationally, and I don't know all of them. I do know we have a UK office and a France office, and maybe if you're in those areas and you can get over there and work, that would be a great place to start. But getting to work for Agora Financial as a non-US resident or citizen is proving to be really difficult. It's like, and this might have to do with all the border issues and stuff we're having right now, but getting people over here to work for us internationally is proving very difficult. But don't worry. The question was the best strategy to learn copy so you can get hired at Agora. So the best strategy to learn copy, and I'm going to sum it up, is don't read about copy, read copy. Okay? And it's really important that when you're reading copy, you understand the big 4 principles that I've been talking about here. Because when you're reading copy, you want to actively read the copy and dissect. Because copying, so for instance, if you read a bunch of letters and you see cool phrases that you like, you start swiping the phrases, right? I'm going to take these phrases, these are cool, I'm going to use these. Oh, smash like if you're getting anything out of this. I'm doing a bad job at interacting with my audience, and I'm getting no comments or questions or likes or anything. If you're getting anything out of this, please do give me a thumbs up or a heart. And any sort of questions or comments you got, go ahead and drop them now, and I'll address them at the end. Man, when I keep interrupting myself, I lose track. So the question was, read copy, don't read about copy. And understand that you're breaking down, so if you try to swipe copy, and you just pull out phrases and try to stack them and create like a Frankenstein sales letter, it's not going to work. Because each of those lines written by like a master copywriter is specifically designed to communicate one of these 4 emotions. And if you don't understand that, you will be using it out of context, and you'll be you'll be mangling the message. However, if you understand these 4 things, then you can reverse engineer what it was that they said, and you can rebuild that pattern. For instance, you can say, okay, here's where they established that this was safe. Here's where they started talking about how new it is. This is how they talked about how easy it was. And then you can use your own language naturally, okay, because you speak copywriting once you understand this. Then you can use your own words. Very simple. Like 5-word sentences that use like 1-syllable words and then like ... All right, that's how copy's written. You can do that very easily. It will kind of just come from you, right? So the first thing I say to get good enough to write copy for Agora is don't read about copy, read copy itself. But you have to be actively reading, and you have to understand what you're looking for. So that will lead me into part 2. Buy my book. And I'm serious. Like, my book is the only one that teaches you to look for the subtext instead of, like, talking about copywriting, like putting together a piece of furniture where it's like step 1, do this, step 2, do that, step 3, do this. No, dude, we're communicating at an emotional level, and you need to understand first, before you write a single word on the page, I need to communicate this message now. And that's what the whole book's going to do. It's going to show you with this part of your copy, it's time to start communicating this to your reader. This is how you would do that. Because once you understand that what they want to hear is something that says this is predictable or safe, then you don't need someone to tell you what to write. You can say, oh, of course my program's safe. Like, look at this and this and this. Like, it'll just come to you. You'll be like, oh, if that's all you needed me to say, I could just say it. That's what makes copywriting a lot more easier than people make it out to be, okay? So then you can follow that system in my book. Again, kylethewriter.com/swipe is my email list, and I'll be updating you about when that'll be due or coming out. We're at the 21st of January, if this watch is correct. So I'm thinking like mid-February that sucker should be out. Lastly, smash like if you want the book. I used to ask everyone to smash like and subscribe like every 5 minutes. Now I'm dropping the book so much, but I should probably get back on my smash like grind. What else did I say? Read copy, not about copy. Follow, buy the book. English is fun. Yeah, and I guess one other thing. Go to my older videos on my YouTube channel. I break down copywriting using like the principles. You can actually see me develop these principles in real time and really focus and hone my message, because when I first started, I was just kind of looking for much broader things, and then I kind of was able to find the patterns, and you can watch me like real time discover how these patterns work. So you can go to my older videos on my YouTube channel and see me like just sit there and break down long form sales letters. So I think that might be all I have for this video. I think I went ahead and pissed off a couple people that like to write very colorfully, and I pissed off a lot of people who write blog posts and call it copywriting. And what else? But dude, don't worry about that English as a second language thing. Yeah, I read your email. It was strong. It was solid. If you can write that well, maybe it takes you a bit longer to get your stuff out. Maybe a little slower, but just try your best. And then if you have to, find someone to proof your grammar. Like pay someone online $5 or something, and because I think you'll be fine if you just practice. That's it, dudes. I don't see any comments coming through. Smash like again, and then smash it once more, and then also smash the heart. There's half of one. I'm going to sign off now. If you're interested in the book, it's coming. I'm doing revisions. I'm about to revise it some more right now. And it keeps getting longer. Like, it keeps getting longer and longer. It's like, oh, I want more examples, proof. I want to make sure that you completely grasp these concepts. Because once you grasp them, it'll just be like I was saying earlier, it'll just kind of flow out of you. All you gotta do is learn the language of copywriting. And there's a lot of people out there pretending they know the language of copywriting. And that's why I shit all over Facebook groups. I don't mean to. I'm not doing it to be mean. I do it because I want you to get good information. So, I have a good idea for next video. It's going to be about discrimination. I think it's going to be about discrimination. It's probably going to be controversial, too. Maybe I'll start doing more controversial videos. All right, I'm doing that thing where I ramble at the end. I'm actually stalling for questions. None are coming through. I'm signing off. Peace out, Copy Squad. Thanks so much for watching.